5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is a show about stepping out of your comfort zone. It's about leaving the main quest line for a minute to see what you're made of. It's about learning who you are, stretching yourself, and reading a boatload of subtitles. We're setting off on a journey and we want you to join us.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. It is the final episode of Season 1 of Side Quest. This little crew you see before you or hear in your ears has finally finished the voyage. That crew being me, Steven, Jacob, and Sir Travis of the Beard.
Hello.
We are all here at the final. Man, we're pulling the boat into the dock, man. We went out on a quest. We pillaged, we plundered, and we brought back the booty. And now we're here to talk about it.
Brought it back, guys.
You know, I think about how we intended to have like this big piratey theme throughout the thing. We never really touched on that at all much.
Kind of didn't.
We kind of put it on. It's in the imagery a little bit and such. But now there's your pirate reference. So have that, audience.
Yes,
who's picky.
There it is.
About things.
It only took us 9 episodes to get a pirate reference into this this here
pirate season
podcast.
We kind of know what we're doing, I guess.
We're bona fide.
We're bona fide. We are bona fide. Well, you could say this about us. You could say we had a fun time throughout this last season, and we're here to talk to you about the latest quest that we did, which was what? Travis, what was our quest?
Watch a foreign film. Specifically, a foreign film. It had to be a movie, not in English or your native language.
Sure.
If you're one of the French-speaking people that listen to our English podcast.
Wait, are there French people that listen to our English podcast?
Of course. No idea.
Oh, okay, that'd be cool.
But sure, yes.
We
are worldwide.
French Canadian. Yeah, we are.
We are worldwide, baby.
Prestige worldwide.
Damn right. Yeah, it was watch a film not in your native language.
That was the mission. Jacob, you and I, when we were talking about this, we're both married to a couple of sisters. You and I are not brothers, just to clarify.
Well, we're brotatoes.
We are brotatoes. Brotatoes from another motato or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were back and forth on a movie called Train to Busan, which we knew both of our wives would suggest. But what I'd like to know is which movie you ended up with, because I know where I ended up, and you can tell Travis and I a little bit about what it was.
We ended up with the Netflix original Space Sweepers.
Space Sweepers.
Yes.
Can I tell you what I think that movie's about before you tell me what it? Okay, so I think it's a movie about a crew on a spaceship that is all about cleaning up asteroid fields to get them out of the way for faster interstellar highways. How close was I?
Not even close.
Okay. Felt like it would be.
That's
Travis,
where I was going to.
Oh, is that where you were going
same place? Yeah, it was cleaning up after it was sweeping up after a couple of asteroids hit each other.
Yeah, I would watch that movie just in case anyone out there has $1 million.
Wants to make it for you?
Yeah.
No. It was about space sweepers, so they were cleaning up the space, the galaxy. But they come across a ship that had precious cargo, and that said precious cargo was worth not only a lot of money, but it was also worth a lot of potentially mass destruction involved with said cargo. And it was about the ordeal of saving the Earth, getting rid of the bad man who wanted to destroy the Earth and set up a new colony in Mars, and saving the day from this awful weapon of mass destruction.
Oh boy.
And it was glorious, guys. I just have to tell you, it was a Korean film. But I think I get extra credit for this one. I think I do.
Okay.
The reason why is because it was Korean, so it was in the native language, but it also had Russian in it. It had German in it. It had French in it. It had English in it. It had Thai in it. It had every different language that you could possibly think of in it.
Wow.
Yes,
But
and it did have quite a bit of. Whenever I first heard the English part of it, I was like, "Oh shoot, am I going to get docked for this?" And then all of a sudden, they started speaking in French, and I'm like, "Oh, what? We're speaking in French now." And then they started speaking in German and Russian, and I'm like, "Whoa, we're starting to speak in all the languages."
oh wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was pretty. I mean, there were. It's only moments, so it's not like the whole
Yeah.
film is all these different languages. But
So it's not quite the old spaghetti western thing of have everyone speak their native language and we'll just dub it all.
Yeah.
but
was
you
my
could
favorite.
definitely tell that the parts where they dubbed it, or well, not dubbed it, but that they had subtitles in English,
Right.
in the actual film, by the way, that were talking about what everybody was saying. So it was really an awesome, fun film. Good story. The music was spot on. Holy moly, they got it right. The main antagonist. He's the guy that played Thorin Oakenshield
Yeah.
from The
Oh
Hobbit.
no
Richard-
way. Yeah, Richard,
Richard Armitage.
Armitage. Yeah.
Yes, he is amazing in that movie.
Really?
Everybody else is kind of good, but he's great. He's the one that makes
Also-
the whole thing.
Also in the MCU, by the way.
Because he plays Wolverine in
Wolverine.
that podcast, right?
Nope. He was in Captain America, the First Avenger.
What was he doing in that?
He was the Hydra agent in the beginning of it that drops the bomb right after Steve gets turned into Muscle Steve.
Oh, holy moly! Did not know that. Okay.
Yep, that was Richard Armitage.
Well,
Wow.
good. He's
Or
he's
Armitage.
Armitage.
Yes.
Well, that's
Well,
cool.
He's
That's
also in the MCU, but he's fantastic in this. He made the entire movie.
Oh, he's
Wow.
great.
He is the main antagonist. He is just perfect in this role. I had a lot of fun watching it. I obviously read majority of it because majority of it was in Korean.
Yeah.
But no, overall, I really I liked it. The one fun part about the movie was that they exaggerated stereotypes of all of these different nationalities. So if you had the French dude, he was the romantic and spoken French, and he was into this love interest. And you had the Russian, who was the bald, hardcore guy who drank vodka. And then you had the German lady who was just banging on things and was angry and spoke this guttural language.
Yeah.
And then you had, so they had these
And
stereotypes.
the English guy was the villain.
No. Well, the English guy was the villain. You're right, but the way they portray Americans, they portrayed them as cowboys.
Yes.
Like
that
just
makes sense.
don't give a shit about anything. Just woo woo, lasso them boys. I
Yeah.
mean, it was
That tracks.
cowboys. And I started thinking, oh my goodness, this is. I mean, it's a stereotype for sure. I'm not going to disagree with that, but that is like less than 1% of our country. in
Are
my
you
mind.
sure? Have you been to America? It's
Well, that kind of cowboy type thing. I'm not talking about
you're
good old boy.
We're
or
talking
redneck.
belt buckle, big hat, Texas.
Big hat, belt buckle,
Yeah.
Texas. Lasso
Yeehaw.
in your hand type of thing. Yeehaw. And I'm like, I understand the whole redneck thing because I speak redneck. I fully appreciate and understand that it's a different world, and over half of our country is said rednecks. But the stereotype, I just thought, man, this is how we're viewed.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
probably tracks somewhat.
Well, I mean, the redneck accent is the only accent that is not geographical in any nature, right?
That's
You can find a redneck in any part of the country.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter if you're from Bozeman, Montana, or the middle of nowhere, Alabama. They
That's a
can
good
sound
point.
the same.
Yep.
And the other thing is like the cowboy stereotype is so ingrained as Americans because you think about early Hollywood, it was a ton of war films and westerns.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So
That's what we
all your early heroes were cowboys.
Yeah.
So
It
That's-
definitely
it's-
tracks.
yeah, it's awesome that they did that though. I love that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. It hit you in the feels at a couple moments. It was a lot of action, just a ton of action, It was a quality movie. I highly recommend to anybody who feels like reading for 2 hours.
I will have to check that out because
Yeah.
I'm now interested more in the foreign films, and we'll get to that in a second. But no, that's cool. How many stars out of 5 would you give Space Sweepers on Netflix?
If I Ashley would definitely give it 5 stars, no doubt.
Sure.
I would probably go with 4 out of 5. If
That's
I could
pretty
give
good.
it a half star, 4.5 out of 5, I would.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the heck out of it. It's just, I'm not a huge. I like to have the subtitles on in case I miss something, or just kind of as a reference point. I don't want to have it as kind of a main understanding of a story, especially at 9:30, 10 at night after a long day, and you're mentally exhausted, and the last thing you want to do is read a movie instead of watch a movie.
Now
Um,
here's a question for you. How much of the plot was dialogue driven where the subtitles were important to know what was going on? And how much do you think you could have inferred without that?
Oh, that's an interesting
Or
question.
that's a good question. Oh my goodness. I think a lot of the plot was subtitle driven.
okay.
Because I don't know if I would have gotten it. I would have. I think I would have misinterpreted what the plot was if I didn't have an explanation of what it was.
Fair enough.
But I will tell you this: I don't 100% think that all. I mean, I could have got probably. I bet 75% of the way there, 80% of the way there. But no, I enjoyed the heck out of it. It is one thing that I don't. I never really shied away from it because I'm married to somebody who loves all things Japanese, all things Korean, all things Asian. So, when you've got anime playing in your house and you're like, oh, Ashley's watching another anime. It just, I'm used to the subtitles, but it's not my favorite thing to do. But I definitely enjoyed this one.
Awesome. And quick thing, Richard Armitage does the voice of Trevor Belmont in the Castlevania series. That's on
Oh.
Netflix. And I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet, but that makes me want to watch that even more.
He also legit is Wolverine in that Wolverine podcast.
Sure.
That Marvel
Oh, yeah.
produced a year or two ago. I don't know if that came off as me just taking a wild guess or me trying to show to express something. Apparently, did a really good job as Wolverine. Travis, what did you watch?
So I watched a movie that I have seen before, but I just love the hell out of it, and I needed something. I needed something to just like relax and watch, and so I watched Kung Fu Hustle.
Oh my gosh,
Now-
that's the best movie.
That movie, okay.
It's a
I
cartoon
haven't
come
thought
to
about that
life.
thing in years.
For those of you that haven't seen it before, Steven is right. It is a live action cartoon.
Like a Chuck Jones, Tex
Yes.
Avery jam.
100%. Like it is. I say this with as much affection, love, and respect as I possibly can. This movie is dumb. It is dumb, 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 and I love every second of it. Stephen Chow just can make a fun movie, and I could watch the movie without the subtitles on,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't care because it's just the visuals of it are astounding. Now, the funny thing was, I watched it on HBO Max, and for some reason that I can't figure out, by default on HBO Max, the movie plays with no subtitles and in Spanish. I had to change the audio track and turn on the subtitles on HBO Max in order to actually. I don't know why. I have
That's
no idea.
amazing.
I started watching it, and it opens up in the police department, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is Spanish. What is going on here? But the movie is just so much fun. I mean, it's a silly, cartoony kung fu film, and it's just great. It's super, super fun. And the week that was, I needed something dumb and enjoyable and just like fun to watch.
Yeah.
So.
It's one of those movies that somehow broke ground here when, a lot of movies come out that are foreign films and no one sees them. But this is one of those that slipped through by word of mouth. Like everyone you
Basically,
met
yeah.
at that time, like at a certain people of a certain age at the time that it hit were just telling each other about it constantly. Like, have you seen Kung Fu Hustle? This thing's nuts.
Yeah, I mean,
and
it's 2004, and
Yeah.
it's just so out there and so outlandish that
yes.
and the humor in it is great. Like the scene where, because Stephen Chow's character starts off, he's a wannabe gangster. He wants to be a bad guy,
And
and
like
comes into the
1920s zoot suit style, like
oh yeah,
gangsters.
the
It's
Axe Gang.
yes. Oh my gosh,
But
it's
he's
so
in
perfect.
this like slum, and he's trying to pick on everybody. And that's the thing about his character to start is like he just all he does is pick on the weaker people. And the whole scene where he's like, "You short guy, come up here," and then the guy stands up and he's like 7 feet tall, and he goes, "No, no, no, not you. Sit back down. I said no cheating. You old man." And the old man comes out, and they CG'd a head onto this bodybuilder. And so then they do the same joke with a kid, those little tiny kid's head on like a bodybuilder. Oh, it's so good. It's just so dumb, and I love every second of it.
The landlady in that movie
Yes.
deserves like an Oscar for just the ham bone nature of her entire performance. Like the 75 cigarettes in her mouth at one point. The spinning legs when she's running is totally out of a Wile E.
Yes.
Coyote cartoon. Like, but
That
it's just
whole
that whole sequence.
that whole sequence where he starts off and he goes to throw the knife at her and it ricochets and catches him in the shoulder, and then his friend throws the other one into his other shoulder, so he ends up with like 3 knives sticking out of him. Then he's getting chased by the landlady, and it's a Tex Avery, like their legs are spinning and they're running, and I love that because they did was stand in front of a green screen and pump their
And
arms
move
up and
their
down,
arms like this.
and that's it. Like it's just so Stephen Chow. You got the landlord and the landlady are awesome. The landlord's just like, I love when he just shows up and he's just got his arms around the 2 guys, and he's so relaxed, and then they start to punch him and the punches are just bouncing off of him, hitting the other guy, and just like just everything about him. The whole movie is just stupid and fun.
It's
It's the only way I can
yeah.
describe it.
The special effects are just off the hook. Like if you're gonna watch a movie for
Oh, yeah.
special effects you don't see every day, Kung Fu Hustle is worth a watch. I love it, and you're right.
Yeah.
It's dumb, but in all the best ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Plus, it's amazing choreography. The fighting in it, the martial arts is super great. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of CG and
Mhm.
a lot of very noticeable CG, but there's a lot of really good kung fu and wire work as well.
Yeah.
Mixed in there, so it's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. The stories doesn't matter at all. It doesn't make any sense, and that's fine. Just
But you'll be
enjoy.
glad you
Sit
watched
back and
it.
enjoy it.
Yeah, you'll be
Oh, yeah.
glad. You'll be glad you
Absolutely.
watched. There are moments in that movie that are just captivating. There are those scenes that if left by themselves are just Oscar worthy for some reason. Whether it's the way they're shot or the way the CG was done, the special effects were done. I'm thinking of those guys with the instruments. I forgot what they're called. But
Oh, yeah,
they're,
the big
they're
harp.
sending the notes at each other. That whole thing
Mhm.
is visually stunning. Like it's
Oh, yeah.
wild, and you're incredibly threatened by these 2 dudes with harps. But because of the way they made it seem so menacing, it was just really well
Mhm.
done. But yeah, so I know I'm sitting here gushing because I got excited when you said Kung Fu Hustle. I didn't mean to like dive in
No.
deep in and just get excited about it. But what would your
Well,
oh go ahead,
go
Jacob.
ahead. No. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say what would your rating of Kung Fu Hustle be? 4 out of 5 stars,
I mean, look,
or
on
a buy it,
on
rent
a
it scale.
of on a 1 to 5 scale of did I have fun? 6.
Yeah,
On a 1 to 5 scale of is it a good quality film, like story? That's like a 2. Like, but the story doesn't matter. Like it's not why you're there.
Yeah.
So no, it's 100% like recommended because it's so silly. It's so
Mhm.
silly, and every once in a while you need a dumb, silly movie to just shut your brain off and watch a cartoon.
Yeah.
And if you like Kung Fu Hustle, some of Chow's other ones, Shaolin Soccer is the one that comes to mind. I also love there is one line of dialogue that cracks me up, and it's towards the end of the movie where because his character gets the brakes beat off him by the Beast, and ends up they have like this whole kind of resurrection scene almost where he's all bandaged up and then he comes out of his bandages, and when the landlord and landlady look out and they see him fighting and they're like, our son would be about his age right now. Yeah, he could be a doctor or a lawyer. And the landlady's like, more likely a stuntman. It's such a great joke. It's such a good joke.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
So
cool.
you do a podcast every week,
Mm-hmm.
and it's solely based around movies.
Yes.
that you haven't seen. And I'm curious, have you ever done a podcast episode on a foreign film? And is this something that you watch frequently, foreign films, or is this something that maybe once a year you watch a foreign film?
So I have done foreign films on the show. In fact, full disclosure, I've done Kung Fu Hustle on my show.
Oh,
It was one
really?
of my earlier episodes was Kung Fu Hustle. Um, but I did the Triplets of Belleville recently with Amy, and that was a French film. Now that's a little bit of a cheat because there's like 8 lines of dialogue in the whole thing, but it's a French film. I I definitely will do a foreign. I mean, there's no stipulations that I don't. The only thing that's harder with foreign films for me when I'm prepping for the show is just finding an audio clip here or there to use. Um, but outside of that, sure. I mean, I have a couple. When I was looking up movies to watch and I was going through HBO Max, just because that was the one I happened to have pulled up, looking at kind of international films and stuff. Um, there was a few on here that I wanted to watch that are classics. Rashomon was one I almost watched
Mhm.
because I've never seen that. Seventh Seal was another one that I almost watched because I haven't seen that one either. And then stuff like I'm trying to think. There was another. I feel like there was another foreign language film that I did for my show. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, I don't mind doing it because I think seeing films from outside of the Hollywood system and outside of even the U.S. independent film scene is good because movies are made different all over the world, and there's a lot of different kind of sensibilities into it. Really, the only major kind of world cinema thing I haven't gotten into very much is Bollywood stuff.
Mhm.
And it's not even because I don't think I would enjoy it. It's just never been on my radar. I've watched a lot of Hong Kong cinema, a lot of Japanese cinema, French films. I've seen plenty of, even some other European ones. But Bollywood's the one that I haven't dove into yet, but I will at some point, I'm sure.
Bollywood being the Indian film industry.
Yes.
For those not well versed in the lingo.
I actually asked Ashley about that if she wanted to watch a Bollywood film for this, and she was like, "Ooh, I don't want to get that deep."
I thought about it. I
Yeah,
did. I
they're
thought
often
about
known for
even.
like they're completely off the chain. Like we talked about Kung Fu Hustle being weird. Like Bollywood movies could just be
Oh
out
yeah.
there. Um, but I'm sure there's some that take themselves very seriously as well. I just don't know what they
Hmm.
are.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, there's nothing to stop me from doing any kind of foreign language films. I'm just looking through Kung Fu Hustle. God, that was my 16th episode. That
Nice.
was a while ago. Um, but I'm sure I've done at least one other one. I just don't know what it would have been.
If people
But
wanted to
yeah,
listen to
there's
episode 16 of your show, where would they go to do that, Travis?
best place to go is tvstravis.com. You can find
Booyah.
the
Oh,
subscribe button right there. Get all 124 episodes.
Bang that like and subscribe button. Ring the bell.
ring the bell, baby, ring the bell.
Hey, YouTube. Yeah, hit it. Cool. Well, that's awesome.
Look, hold on, wait. I love YouTube this past week because that's solely how I'm getting my Olympic content. NBC has been putting on just videos of specific events, and I've been watching specific events in 4-minute clips, and it's been beautiful.
I bet
Thank
that
you,
is
NBC
nice.
Sports. No
Yeah.
link. No the bang the subscribe button and click the rel and blah blah blah. None of that shit. It's
Just
just
watch
NBC
it.
Sports just putting directly on. It's fantastic. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
I kind of forgot about the Olympics because I don't watch TV that much. So
Can,
it got
can
away
I
from me.
rant for 2 seconds?
Yeah. Hold on. I gotta hit a button first.
I'm as mad
Hold
as
on, I
hell.
screwed
what
that
really
up.
grinds my gears?
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Okay, go.
NBC has totally fucked up the Olympics.
Okay.
Completely. They are not listening and they are not paying attention to anyone. We're a streaming society now. We are not 8 o'clock is prime time on NBC on your antenna society any longer. We're not that society. We've got streaming content. We've got YouTube. We've got all the different services that you can get your content from. Very few people are actually turning on the television, adjusting their rabbit ears, and turning on their 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock news and 8 o'clock primetime shows. Nobody's doing it anymore. And the Olympics are 12 to 13 hours of time zone difference, right? And so in the morning here, you learn about what happens for that day. So of course, rather than streaming it live or, giving an update in the morning or showing things during the day, they decide to wait until 8 o'clock. And everybody with half of a brain finds out at 8 a.m. what's going on with the Olympics that day, and they shut down. And they're not going to watch television. So NBC is losing money hand over fist because nobody's freaking watching it. And then on top of that, they put half the events on TNT. They put half of the events on cable. They put half of the events on NBC Primetime. They put half of the events on Peacock. They put half of the events. I mean, it's just dumb. They're splitting it up and they're crushing their own ratings. And I'm not understanding what their vision for any of this was.
Well,
sorry.
I have a couple things to say on that. You're not wrong. However, it's not entirely accurate to say nobody is watching it because there's still a very large portion of the country that are older than us, and that is how they consume things. And major media, network television included in that, are very, very, very slow to change anything.
Yeah.
So you're right. They should be doing a better job of it. But I know my parents still have the news on every day at 6 o'clock. I stop by their house and there's the local news is on whatever channel. And my dad goes out of his way to find ways to be able to do that without paying for a cable subscription.
Yep.
So it definitely still exists. There's a lot of people still doing that. We don't think about it because everybody in our circles doesn't, right? I haven't paid for cable television. The last time I had a cable television subscription, I think that I paid for was 2006.
Wow. Yeah, you're
and the last time I lived
cutter.
somewhere that had cable television was 2009 or 10. So it's been well over 10 years since I've even lived in a situation that's had regular terrestrial TV of any kind. Mm-hmm. So it's easy for me to say, well, yeah, nobody's doing that because none of my circle does, but there's still quite a few people out there that do.
Yeah,
and,
nobody
and
is
NBC
the wrong word. You're 100%.
And NBC is very slow to change that. You're right.
But and I love chat, by the way. Chat, you guys are amazing people, and I love everything about you guys. But yeah, they do have a streaming service. It's Peacock, and you can get some of the events on Peacock, but you can't get them all.
Subscribe to the cock.
Yep.
Get your stuff.
Get your cock here.
Yeah, get on that cock.
But no, I do feel like this Olympic experience is different, and it should be different because we do have a lot of different streaming services, and I get it. But they could have put more thought into their approach, and I have a feeling that 2024 they're going to completely change the way they did it because they're going to completely lose their butts.
This happened last Olympics. Do you remember the same thing happened in 2016?
16.
Yeah. The exact same conversation. NBC's jacking up everything about the Olympics. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a refrain. We'll hear it every year because NBC's going to keep that license forever.
2032. They've got it till 2032.
So yeah, they're going to screw it up in 2024, 2028.
Yeah, and it's really hard for them to just preempt like everything that they do on a regular basis for the 2 weeks that the Olympics goes on, because there's a lot of contracts in place and a lot of things they can't change. It's the same reason why live sports cost so much and why there's such a pain for the networks that do run them, because it costs them money. It costs them a lot of money to run that.
Well, you know what else brings the world together is foreign film.
That's right. I'm sorry.
The Olympics
derailed our conversation.
The Olympics brings things together, but so does foreign film. Audiences from all over the world tune in. And I also watched a foreign film
I'm so sorry,
this
Stephen.
past week. No, it's fine. It's good. No, that was a good sidetrack. It's the last episode. Nobody cares. If they haven't rated our show yet, they're not going to on this episode. So these guys get off track all the time. What is this? So I ended up watching also a Korean film. Funny enough, it seems like Korean films are the jam these days. You got your Parasite there winning Oscars. That was Korean.
Yeah.
Well, this one was not Parasite. This was a little movie called Train to Busan, which I actually did end up watching.
You get it.
Yeah, after we talked about it, and I sat and I was like, Stephanie, what are we gonna watch? You want Parasite or Train to Busan? She's like, okay, two things. Parasite, I don't know if it's free, and I know Train to Busan is on Netflix, so we're gonna watch Train to Busan. Wait, no, we paid for Train to Busan. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Netflix.
Oh
Train to
well,
Busan
was on Netflix too. Dag nabbit, why not
Parasite
rent it
was
for like $3?
$3.99 on Amazon.
Well, I paid $3 to watch Train to Busan anyway, so who cares?
That's
The
worth it.
thing is, it was good. It was a movie. If you're unfamiliar, it is a zombie movie about a chemical plant that has an explosion, and nobody's aware of what happened other than, weird stuff. And then that's weird. But the whole thing is about a guy trying to take his daughter. He's a very self-obsessed, narcissistic man, businessman, needing to take his daughter to see her mom in Busan because she doesn't want to stay with him anymore because he's a narcissistic, selfish, butthole kind of guy who's just business all day. So he's like, I'll take my daughter, put her on the train tomorrow. We'll go down to Busan. I'll drop her off because I can't send her by herself, all that stuff. Well, they basically find themselves getting to the train, and then the apocalypse hits. And it's one of those movies where you watch, when you watch a movie and you find yourself going, if they just done this, if this one thing had gone differently, if this one moment had not been what it is, and if you rewatch it, you're just like, maybe they won't get on the train this time. Maybe that infected person will not fall in the door just at the right moment. That was the kind of sense I got throughout this whole movie, just watching these events go through and just being like, oh, maybe they won't. Nope, they did. That part happened. I didn't want to. It was one of those things too, like as I was watching it, I realized I'm reading it, but at some point the reading of it just fades away. Like you're reading it, but you don't really care that you are. You're just enjoying the performance. There's some phenomenal performances in this movie. This little 6-7-year-old girl, mind-blowing performance for what she has to give. She's in nothing but other adult actors. In most zombie movies, it's all adults doing junk, and maybe there's a pregnant lady. But mostly it's adults. The pregnant, because people don't want to work with kids. Nobody wants to see a kid get eaten, and the likelihood is a kid's probably going to get eaten. But it's not the story they were trying to tell. They weren't trying to tell a story about zombies attacking a train. They were trying to tell a story about this damaged relationship of a father and his daughter, and what's going on this train. In its completely disastrous run to Busan from another town, which is like hours away. But you've got your typical zombie movie archetypes in it. You've got your super strong dude who somehow can punch zombies. You've got your weak guy. You've got your selfish guy who's like, we just need to lock everything, and I don't care who dies outside this car.
Oh, that guy. Oh,
Yeah,
that
you
guy.
know who. So if you've seen it, you know who I'm talking about. It's a person I have not hated in a movie as much as I hated this guy since The Patriot, like Jason Isaacs in The Patriot. I hated this guy. He couldn't die soon enough. And the thing is, they don't die fast as you'd want them to. You're like, it'd be great if he got 8 now. But no, this guy hung on a long time. And
No,
with
and,
every moment he breathed, you were like, I hope he chokes on something.
That guy, I have not hated a character in a film like that guy since Rafe Fiennes in Schindler's List.
Oh my gosh.
And if you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. That's the level of hatred. I was just like, kill this guy. He needs to die. He's not surviving. Do not let him live through the movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, don't let him
spoiler
do
alert, he doesn't.
it. But yeah.
I don't
think
mind
that's-
spoiling that fact. I don't.
Yeah.
One cool thing I got to say: this movie is great.
It's
Train
great.
to Busan is amazing.
Great.
I thought it was really cool. The main actor Gong Yu,
Mhm.
he worked out, and actually the bigger guy that you were talking about that has the pregnant
Yeah,
wife
love that dude.
is Ma Dong Sok. So he plays Song Hwa. That was the main actor's personal trainer. They
No
used to
way.
work out together and
Are
spar
you
together.
serious?
So
He was so
yeah.
good. He was
Oh,
so
they
good.
They were both really, really good. But man, that the dad, not the main character dad, who does get a good arc, and I did like what they did with his character. But no, other guy,
Yeah.
Song Hwa, that guy was awesome. He was so good.
Yeah. It's that thing where you meet someone to start with and you make all these assumptions based on their first interactions. And you're like, that guy's kind of a butthole. But then like it flips you. At some point you're just like, this is now my favorite dude. Like you are what you need to be in the situation you're in, you know? Like you might be a butthole here, but when the crap hits the fan, you are what everyone needs. And it was one of those kind of scenarios. There was some frustrating parts where you're just like, you have that zombie like Deus Ex Machina kind of thing. Like this just has to have. This is called the magical plot device that just this needs to occur, even though it makes no sense because the plot has to move forward in this way. So there's those little things where you're like, okay, zombies crazy strong until this moment. Like, you know, you ever watch a zombie movie, Jacob? And they put their arm like up under the zombie's chin to keep them from biting them, and you're just like, that zombie just has to like rear back a little, and they bite your forearm off. That happened like 3 times. I'm like, you're watching these zombies just absolutely obliterate people and just gnaw their face off, and then somehow get hung up on the fact that they've got, you know, an elbow under their chin. So there was those things, but again, it wasn't the story they were trying to tell. It was just the thrill in the moment. I recommend it, highly recommend. I'd give it 4 stars. I cried.
4, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I cried at the end. Because to be fair, I'm a crier. I cry at movies. I enjoy crying at movies.
I'm with you.
I think if someone's piece of art has you feel an emotion, then they have succeeded. And I lean in on those moments and just let them take me. Just watch it and just be like, dang, that happened.
Did you cry on Creed 2?
Creed 2, no. Creed 1,
Creed
yes.
1? Yeah.
Creed 1, yes.
I mean, I was tearing up on Creed 1. I mean,
Creed 1, there was a delivery of a particular line there at the end of that movie that wrecked me. And a lot of that, because you're going to go off a Creed tangent, but a lot of that's because of the way they build that entire story. There's a mystery to why, you know, and then when you finally get the answer, you're like, oh, dang. Okay. Yeah, it just grabs your heart and rips it out of your chest. Call him on and throws it on the ground.
I was trying to give the audience a feeling of what you cry about.
Sure, yeah.
You cry if it hits you in the gut.
Yes.
If it hits you in the feels and you understand it, you could sympathize or empathize. You're like,
yeah.
And I will say the end of Train to Busan has that. Plus,
yeah,
I have to say this again because you mentioned it already, but the little girl in that movie,
so good.
It is unreal how good she is.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not fair how good she is in that movie.
It's that's one of the things that brings you to the feels is for me, children anytime is something that you can mess me up. Once I became a dad, all bets were off when it comes to parents being reunited with their kids or seeing their kids do a thing. Like I end up putting myself in there, and that her entire, I mean, she gave everything to it. You know, there's kid actors and there's actors who are kids. She's an actor who is a kid. Just absolutely nailed it. So yeah, highly recommended. 4 stars. Give Train to Busan a watch. If you've never watched foreign films before, I think the 3 of us can attest to the fact that you should expand your horizons. It's not as bad as you think it is to read a subtitle. You will forget you're reading them and get up and go get popcorn and then realize you've missed half the movie because you thought you could listen. It's that good.
Done that before. I've done that.
Yeah, I've done it. I've gotten up and wandered off and been like, wait, I have no flipping idea what's going on.
Somebody hit pause.
Yeah, I have to rewind it now. But no, they are worthwhile. There's a whole world of movies outside Hollywood that are worth checking out. But one thing we did get was from our MVP, Amy, who has participated in every single flipping challenge. She's defeated both me and Jacob. We took Free Spaces, and she did all of them.
Yeah, she's beyond MVP at this point.
Yeah, she crushed it.
We should have just had her on tonight. as our guest host, so that we could have just said, "Okay, you won.
Yeah.
You defeated us. You're the host."
Yeah, I quit. I'm gonna go sit down now. But yeah,
She
so
could have done a great job too, by the way. Because
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
she'll be-
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. She was on
Yeah, and
Joystick
she
and
sent
Mouse
us
the
an
other
email.
night and did a great job.
Oh,
great
she was
job.
good on that.
Gosh. Talent. The talent.
So she sent us an email from Amy. So we got I think out of all the quests from this season, this has been the one that I have been least enthusiastic about. Not because I don't enjoy foreign films, but rather for the exact opposite reason. Foreign media is something I watch a lot, pretty much weekly. So this felt rather like a gimme week for me. I hunted for something new that I could watch, but nothing really caught my attention. I procrastinated, so today I wound up binging two of my favorite Japanese series on Netflix that I haven't watched in a while. First up was Samurai Gourmet, a show about a retired businessman who learns how to enjoy his newfound free time with the help of an imaginary wandering samurai. I followed this up with Kantaro, the sweet tooth salaryman, an absolutely bonkers show about a straight laced businessman who runs a secret dessert blog. Shockingly, both food centered, I know, but also highly entertaining and informative. And because in the end, I feel like I phoned this one in, I did pick up some trash on my walk through the park this afternoon. So that was
Not
just
only-
Amy with a little mic drop.
Well done. That's good. Yeah. By the way, I cleaned up some stuff. No, that's super cool. I now want to watch Kentaro the Sweet Tooth Salary Man because that synopsis you gave.
Yeah,
I just need to know now. I have questions.
a secret dessert blog.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Secret on the internet? What could that be?
There's a secret on the internet.
Yeah, somewhere in the dark web, dessert blog.
Oh, I have to mention this real quick because
Dark web desserts.
as I said, I went through HBO Max looking at international films trying to find something, and at one point I thought, oh, maybe I'll watch Seven Samurai. No, that's like 3.5 hours long. I wasn't gonna strap in for that. Like I love Kurosawa, but I didn't have that in me this week. The other one that kept popping up every time I'd look in a list or anywhere just trying to get ideas was Man Bites Dog. Don't watch the movie, okay? It's good. It's very well made. I watched that movie about 12 or 13 years ago, and I still feel icky from it.
No, no.
Like I took 2 showers after I watched the movie, and I was still like, no, I don't. So it just kept popping up every time I'd scroll down a list. I'm like, Man Bites Dog. No, keep
No,
scrolling.
it's just, can I ignore this film so I could quit thinking about it?
I wish.
I'll have
I
to keep
wish.
that in mind in the future.
Well, it is interesting that Amy thought this was a gimme week for her, because I actually thought this was the Super Squirrel Challenge. I thought this was going to be the kind of the one that most people were like, I don't know,
Yeah.
but enjoy it. And I feel like it was the exact opposite for Amy, but for us, I think it was the opposite of that. I think we all enjoyed it. It sounded like.
I think it was a push for me to watch a thing that Stephanie been wanting me to watch for a long time that I probably was never going to sit down and do.
So you got points with the wife, huh?
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, but I also got enlightened by watching a foreign film that was really, really good. These days, I find it harder to sit down and watch a movie at home. I don't know what I'm a movie person, so it's weird. But I find it harder to carve off 2 hours to sit. When it's like 2 hours of the only time of the day I get to do something, it's like for some reason the movies have fallen down. I'd much rather go to a theater in the afternoon, but as we all know, in the times that we live in, that doesn't happen anymore. For me, I like movies as an experience, and TV doesn't give me that. You know, TVs
Sure,
throw something on and just have it play while you work on a Lego or something.
So, all right. So, question for both of you, and I'll start with you, Jacob. And it's two-parter. Part A is prior to this challenge, were foreign language films something that you thought about ever? Like just sitting down and watching a French film or watching a Japanese film? And do you feel like you gained more appreciation by saying, no, that's what I'm going to do this week, and are more likely to go in that direction moving forward? Do you feel like it made any kind of an impact, or was it more of I found a pretty fun movie that maybe I wouldn't have watched prior to that? Like, do you feel like it made any kind of a change for you?
Yeah. So have I watched foreign films? Oh yeah. I mean, Ashley loves everything foreign. She loves everything Japanese, Korean, etc. So we've always been kind of watching those kinds of things. 3% was one of the shows on Netflix that we had recently watched. I believe that was in Spanish. It's definitely something that's been on our radar. It's probably not as heavily on our radar. It's more about, is it a good movie, and if it's a good movie, then it doesn't matter. We'll try to watch it. Is it something that I'll go out of my way to try to incorporate in? Yes and no. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this week gave me any more of appreciation for it. I think
Okay.
it it obviously ticked a box, but I do believe that um, it forces you to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, and this is watching a film in a foreign language is definitely out of your comfort zone. I don't care who you are, because you have to rely on some interpreter or some interpretation, whether it's coming on the screen or whatever have you. So it's out of your comfort zone. But overall, I don't think I think I would still continue to operate as normal. I mean, if Parasite is Parasite, everybody talks about it, I'm gonna watch it, right? Train to Busan is Train to Busan, everybody talks about it, I'm gonna watch it, right? So the other movie that we had on our list was, what was it, Major Grom, I think it was, The Plague Doctor. I mean, yeah, if it's good, then I think we'll probably catch it. If it's crap, we probably won't, except for Ashley. She likes to watch really crappy, awful movies that nobody enjoys, that she just finds fun.
Okay. And Steven, same question.
Yeah, I think it helps. In terms of like, would I watch more? Did it give me more respect for it? I've watched foreign films before. Like I said, I've watched Del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth, which was Spanish. But it was also Del Toro, so it kind of feels like cheating. Like he's a director I know from, other movies that are Hollywood blockbusters. And then I watched, or I've been interested in watching Parasite because I knew that got a bunch of awards and stuff. But like in terms of just finding stuff that's foreign to watch, it's never my default. That's never my go-to. And I mean, some of that's because you couldn't be more of grown up in more of an American bubble culturally than I did. Like just zero exposure to anything really culturally different from my own. So as a person, as a creature, a comfort creature, someone who goes to things they recognize and can grab a hold of and understand, I don't go to movies that are like this entirely different society and different way of working and different one thing, Train to Busan, everybody's sitting on the floor because you take your shoes off at the door, you wear your indoor flip-flops, you sit on the floor. And those things are always peculiar to me. So I'm like trying to like understand, and I feel like a caveman looking through the window of a world I just haven't been a part of or haven't been exposed to, which is good. Like this is great. I love that I'm getting that.
Yeah.
I'm understanding that, because for so long, a lot of the stuff that I was watching, it was, or what I knew of foreign films was like cheaper, harder to understand, worse acting kind of things. And what I'm understanding the more I watch them, particularly modern ones or ones in the last 10 years or so, is like, it's just a movie made with the same quality and the same amazing actors who just happen to speak a different language and do different things than you would do in a given scenario. And I'm like, well, holy crap. Yeah. And that's good. That's awesome. Nobody had a gun shooting zombies in Train to Busan for
climb?
99% of the movie. No, totally couldn't climb. What are you talking about? By the way, I got Sam today. We're reading one of his books. There's monsters in a zombie apocalypse, and there's this kid surviving in it. And the kid stays in a treehouse. And Sam was like, why does he stay in his treehouse? I said, because zombies can't climb, Sam. Can't get up there. He was oh, okay.
I can't believe you are teaching the next generation of kids the complete opposite of reality. What's all things good and right.
It was the perfect opportunity, though. I thought of you immediately when he asked, why is he up in a treehouse? Well, Sam, zombies can't climb. Simple. That's why he's up in his treehouse.
I mean,
boom.
Honestly, golf clap.
I'm gonna have
right?
to correct that this week.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
I get points for that, because that was real good. He set it up, and I knocked it down.
Yeah, you did. You hit the softball out of the park. So I have a question for you guys. So out of out of the off the topic a little bit this week, but we did 9 challenges.
Yeah.
10 if you count the kind of raising money challenge that we'll talk about
Sure.
in just a minute. But what was your favorite challenge?
Okay, let me think about it because let me go back through the list
Yeah.
of things that we did. Just to recap,
Honestly,
everybody. Should have had that
My
ready.
favorite challenge was the Culinary World Tour.
Oh
Was
yeah.
was
Week 1,
cooking.
baby. That was right away. We hit it
It
with a whole run
was.
that first week.
I think the reason that I enjoyed that challenge so much was it's something that I like doing, but it made me stretch in doing that. Kind of like watching a foreign film, but even more so. Like I watch a lot of movies, and I cook a fair amount. But I cook a lot of very similar things. I find my lane and I kind of stick in it, and I might venture out here and there, but it's usually adjacent to what I already make. It's not, I make a lot of pasta dishes, so I'm going to make something it's pasta just with different ingredients in it, or different types of sandwiches or burgers. So this was nice because it really forced me to look at a cuisine from somewhere else in the world and uh, try some different stuff. Making my own dashi to make those okonomiyaki pancakes. The dashi alone is like I need to just make this more often and have it,
Mhm.
frozen, ready to use at any point like that. So that was for me probably my favorite of the challenges.
I learned a lot during Culinary World Tour. I think that was like Og was saying in the chat, was the most fun for him to hear about. It was probably the most fun for me to talk about because we had several different dishes and people I talked to get the dishes from them and their recommendations and stuff. I really enjoyed involving people from work from these different countries and be like, hey, give me something. What can I cook? And their joy at telling me about it. That was fun because that provided that inclusive environment of like important to note, inclusion isn't just trying to invite people to your barbecue, it's also getting to know what they like and engaging on that. That's how that works. But that was really fun to be a part of. But I think the thing, just to differentiate myself from Travis a little bit, is the screenless hour. That screenless hour for a week taught me an awful lot about what I am capable of if I set my mind to it. Even if what I'm capable of is just going to bed on time, that week was significantly better because of that. I read before bed. I was asleep a little after 10 every night that week. It didn't stick because it's 10:30 now. I'm still awake. Probably will be. But it made a big difference. It showed me something that I really need to find the discipline for. I don't know if I will, but it was definitely an encouragement to know that if I want success, I know where to find it, and that's in putting down my phone an hour before bed. So yeah, that one was enlightenment. Jacob, which one did you find the best for you?
2-mile hike, 100%.
Oh wow,
100%,
That
yeah,
hands down.
That was a
2-mile
good
hike.
challenge.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one the best, and it wasn't necessarily because it was harder. It taught me a lot about myself. It was more that it reminded me of who I was, and it reminded me of where I was from, and it reminded me of what brought joy to me, which is part of screens do not bring joy to me. Being on a computer all day does not bring joy to me. Being outdoors, enjoying the weather, and enjoying people, and trying to figure things out, and figuring out different challenges and obstacles, and um, that brings joy. And that, I think, it was a stark reminder for me of kind of who I was. And it was something small, but you know what I've done? I've brought William out 2 or 3 times since that challenge on Saturday morning with a backpack, and we just went for a hike or went for a walk or did our own thing. And it's one thing that I'm hoping that I can continue over the next lifetime for William, is so that he might have that same sense of nostalgia when it comes to that kind of activity. So
yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool challenge. I think I want to do something like that again, but I want to do it from a location that I don't know as well. Because that was for me, it was less of a learn my surroundings and more of a 5 minutes. Okay, now I know where I am. Now I just walk back. But that's just because I live in a small area and I know all of it so well.
Yeah.
But the idea of the challenge itself and the getting out and getting outside and away from things, I love that. So
Yeah.
The way I want to do that one next time, because there'll probably be a next time when we do something like that, I want to do it with Jacob, Wally, Chris, whoever wants to join locally. Start from a pub, draw our 2-mile line, and then work our way back to the pub. That is how I want to do it next time with a group. So we can put ourselves in more of a like, where the crap are we situation. And one of the four of us has a better shot at going like, I know where we're at, kind of.
Yeah. Ish.
Yeah, ish. Or at least you've got something, because you guys had an experience of making it back. I had an experience of getting just completely turned around. So
I
it
got
was
an experience of an earful or
for trying
folks
to
in our
murder
lives
me.
were not happy.
But no, I didn't get murdered. Good news. And spoiler alert, I didn't die. But yeah, I think I would love to do that with the group, with the promise of a tasty beverage at the end of the journey, and to know I
like
had
that idea.
6 hours to figure it out. Not to feel like I had to do it in such a hurry, because there was almost this feeling of like, if I can't figure this out in an hour and a half, everybody's gonna be worried about me or think I can't get home. Like, I would love to have that. I'm just gonna pretend you're at work for 8 hours and just good luck getting home. If your feet fall off, call me if you get in an emergency.
Well, and I think that's where our constant connectivity has hindered us. Because if you're out of connectivity for an hour, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, 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 it's an hour. And everybody around you's like, where's Steven?
They must
It's
be
been an hour.
dead.
He must be dead. It's the worst case scenario. It's not Steven will be all right. It's been a couple hours. He'll make it.
He's in the
not
safest
mentality.
town in the United States.
Well, and to that point, like you did mention how, you were being tracked while you were out there walking.
Sure, yeah.
To the point where you got a phone call at one point, you're going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. I was in a parking lot 2 miles away. You were being tracked via GPS. There were people that were in our lives that were like, oh, where is he? Where is he? Where is he?
Yeah. To be fair, I went back and drove that route just to see like where it would have taken me if I'd kept walking forever. And the likelihood of me figuring out where I was on that road, because so much of it had changed. I drove up that thing and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, there was finally a soccer park on the right side of the road. I would have been like, oh snap, okay. And then another like quarter mile up was a storage place we used to pass on the way to church all the time. Then I'm like, oh, I would have been like, I have gone the wrong way. But I know if I keep going this way, I know where the road is to go home. So it was one of those, like, if I had been left alone for another 45 minutes, I would have figured out where I was. And I could have then thrown in the towel, be like, I know where I am, and I know I'm going to be at least 3 hours.
Yeah.
So come get
It's
me.
either you turn into a walking challenge at that point and just make your way home.
Sure.
Or you could call somebody at that point and be like, look, I know where I'm at. I know everything about it. I know how to get home. I can walk it with my eyes closed, but I'm not going to spend the next 2 hours walking it. Come get me.
I'm done. I'm done. Come get me at the soccer field. I'm through.
That's
which
right.
honestly is a very different way to tap out of that challenge.
Yeah.
It would
Yeah,
have.
sure. Yeah, it would have been. But no, I think overall this has been a good season. This was our first pass. We came up with these different challenges. We tried to pick something that was a little bit weird for each week. I think we pulled it off. I think we got a good assortment here, and it all worked out. But one challenge overall that we tried to set out to do was take $20 and turn it into more money for charity. I'm gonna go last. Actually, I'll go first. How about I go first and say I have a grand total of $20? And you might want to know why. Steven, why didn't you make any money? Well, because I'm an idea man, internet. I'm an idea man. I'm a dreamer. I'm not a doer. Never have been. Thought I've been a doer lots of times. I did manage to make a podcast a couple times. But outside of that, my accomplishments mainly involve stuff that I've done at work, but very little stuff that I've actually made tangible stuff out of at home. I suck at it. Ashley can attest that we both sit around and come up with great things that we should do, and then never
They are
do
idea
them.
gold mines. Idea gold mines. Just walk behind them all day with a notepad, and every about an hour you'll write something down, and you could make $1 million pretty easily just by taking one of their ideas and turning it into something.
Yeah, just follow us around with a microphone, and at some point you will have a thing that you'll be like, I'm going to go do that. Because some people are action people and some people are thinkers. I've met a lot of thinkers that have also paired up with action people and made things happen. Because they were like, I don't know how to do it, but he did. And I sat next to him and told him all the cool things I thought we should do. And we agreed that he knew how to do them and I knew how to think of them. And I think you're looking at a Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak kind of thing. I mean, Steve Jobs was a doer. But he could do different things than Woz could do. Woz could make the thing. He could sell the thing. They paired up, made that work. So that's
what I'm hearing from you is that you have no money to give to charity other than the 20 that
I
you
have
started with.
$20. I have $20. I'll double it. I'll double it for charity since I came in last. I even had like people practically begging me. They're like, "Why don't you just do this thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then I just didn't. So I have to live with that my whole life. Jacob, what did you end up with?
So I started out with $20. I went out and bought some ingredients for barbecue sauce. I made a huge vat of barbecue sauce, and I sold a dozen or so pints of barbecue sauce for what I put as $6. Some people gave me $10. I raised a lot of money off that barbecue sauce. I then reinvested that and dehydrated some fruit and some meats and some other things and turned that into some extra cash. I even took $10. Actually, Steven only ended up with $10 for the season, let's be honest, because I took $10 from him for dehydrated pineapples. Just so everybody is fully aware. That's full disclosure there, Steven.
Yep.
I ended up with $84 total.
That's a
So
good
I turned
haul.
20 into 84. So in 8 weeks, I have 4x the money I started with.
That is impressive. You've done well. 4x is
Not
a lot
as much
of
as I
X's.
wanted to. I really wanted to get a full. I really wanted to find a good sale on London Broil. I was hoping that over the 8 weeks I would get a good sale on London Broil and be able to just dump 80 some bucks into London Broil and then just make a freaking killing off of beef jerky. But I couldn't find a good sale on it.
Yeah. Well, Travis, where did you end up?
So
What was your project?
I've
Where
said-
did you end up?
Yeah, I said a couple of times. So my project was I have sitting directly behind me actually a very nice resin 3D printer. And so my project was to design, print, and paint tabletop miniatures. And I'm showing a couple of them on camera right now that I've done. And it's a little blurry, but so I would work with people on designing them, and then I would print them off and I would paint them. And currently, I invested my $20, and so net from that I had $220.
Wow.
And I have potentially as much as 90 more coming later this week. Between 60 and 90, it depends on one of them.
So maybe
that-
$310
that I need to finish up.
total.
Jeez.
So as much
You
as
killed it.
somewhere between $280 and $310.
That's
is what
incredible.
We'll have
Yeah.
raised.
10x, 15x your cash. That is amazing.
Yeah. That
And
is
honestly,
wild.
it's been a ton of fun. I've had so much fun with it. Just painting these things, designing them, using HeroForge.com to design different miniatures and playing around with that. It was pretty cool.
That is fantastic. So, Travis, now that we know that you just absolutely destroyed, well, you beat Jacob. You
Both of us.
destroyed
Yeah,
me.
You destroyed both of us. Let's not kid.
But so what charity are we writing our checks to?
So I said earlier on in the year that, or the season, that we would do the American Cancer Society. So
All
that's where
right.
our money's going to go this time around.
That's where I will put my cash money. Thank you for working so hard to make that happen. This is probably, despite my lackluster ability to do anything useful for society, it's always fun to hear about how it worked out. And you definitely made up for the fact that we both could have done 80, but you're just like, I'll just carry Steven across the finish line so the Cancer Society gets a worthwhile chunk. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is super cool.
And it was I got a better response than I anticipated getting. And it was a fun thing, and it's the other thing too for me is like now it's something that I just want to keep doing.
Yeah,
Charity
you
drive or
should.
not, just have that as a thing I'll keep doing for people, like taking commissions on them.
Yeah.
Had a ton of fun.
Yeah, and I mean your prices are perfectly reasonable for a custom mini. Oh my word,
I think
And-
so. Probably undercharging, but whatever.
Probably. Yeah, you could probably do better. But you have one way to pay for your 3D printer.
Yeah.
If you really
very
wanted
true.
to. No, but that was awesome. So if you were out there and you participated in the event, let's say you committed to giving yourself $20 to spend, and you did something. I mean, it'd be cool to participate in the point that you give it to American Cancer Society to support Travis's win with us. But if you give it to anybody, I'm sure that's great. Everybody everywhere, every charity everywhere needs some cash, especially in these trying times. So congrats to Travis for the win.
Big
and,
win, sir.
for the big win. And this is also the time where we should give a huge shout out to Amy for just killing it as the MVP of season 1. Like she sent in an email for every single challenge to tell us how she was doing. And I mean, as many times as we've tried to get people to participate with us in things and horseshoes and hand grenades, it's rarely ever works out. But having someone dive in head first and like join us on this journey has been huge. So Travis, what is Amy doing? What is Amy going to win for being the MVP of the season?
So I have been working on, in secret, you two are the only ones that know about it so far, a challenge coin. A Two Dorks challenge coin, and this one is going to be a unique challenge coin. There's only going to be a select few of them that it will ever exist, and it is up on the screen on the stream right now, and it will have Side Quest Season 1 on one side and the Two Dorks logo on the other side. And I'm going to, I have modeled that. I've got a little bit of tweaking to do to it, and then I'm going to be printing those myself. And by those, I mean probably like 3 of them. There's not going to be very many of them that exist.
Yep.
So, and
It's gonna be
Amy's getting one of those. And there's something, I think there was something else you were talking about, but I know,
Yeah.
I know
we-
for
Yes,
sure.
this is the big one.
This is pretty exciting. I'm really excited about this. But Amy, because you won and nobody else really participated to the point where they get to be in the challenge coin club, we know you like to cook. So the 3 of us got to get, and I know you probably have 35 aprons. But one apron that you do not have is one that has Two Dorks University written on the front of it, which would also be the only apron in history that is a Two Dorks University apron. We've got T-shirts. We've never made an apron. So let me know what color you like, and I'm going to screen print you a Two Dorks University apron. Fun fact on it in Latin, it says "Nucis in altum debitum," which basically roughly translates to balls deep in debt.
Yes, it does.
Uh,
So you have an apron that says Two Dorks University, balls deep in debt, for you to
Number
wear
one,
at
I love
parties.
that. I love that phrase, and I also like the idea of a bespoke apron, like a unique,
Yeah,
one of a kind apron.
Yeah, if other people had won, we'd have to like make something generic. But since you're the only one that did it, just let us know what color you like, and I'll see if I can find a plain apron in that color and get it screen printed and sent your way, along with the challenge coin. So if you run into us at Dragon Con and you like sit down next to us at the bar and like challenge coin, boom, buy me a beer.
We have to buy you a beer. Anytime you whip out the challenge coin, we're in a place that serves beer. We have to purchase
We have
a beer
to, yeah,
for
we
you.
have to help you out. So that's just the rules. That's the game. That's how it's
The rules of
played.
the game.
Yeah. So if,
How it
if
goes.
if Travis and you meet up at the Frog Pants Vegas or Nerdtacular or whatever, you're gonna be like, "Hey, Travis, boom, buy me a beer." Unless
Or
you
if
can also
just
coin up.
happen to randomly be in some random town and all of a sudden you see somebody with a Two Dork shirt on and you're
Yeah.
going, huh? pop that coin up, let it flip a couple of times, drop it on the table at the bar, roll it over to somebody and say, buy me a beer, bitch.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah. That's so cool. I love the fact that there's challenge coins. I'm so excited about you printing that, Travis. It's gonna be awesome. We'll have to figure out more ways to more things that we could give out audience challenge coins to in the future.
I will say that for every season we do this show, my plan is to have a different challenge coin.
Yeah.
So there is an incentive for you that are listening that if you want one of these challenge coins, I will have enough for the people that participate in all of our challenges for a season.
Mm-hmm.
So if you participate in every challenge for a season, you're going to get a bespoke challenge coin. It's going to be unique to that season of side quests, and I will only ever make a run of them once. Most likely what it'll be is one for us as hosts, and then whoever completes all the challenges.
There you go. And I guess that means we have to come back for season 2, right?
I think so.
Yeah, sounds like it. So that means we're putting I believe we're putting 8 weeks we should be back for season 2. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. We're gonna sit around and consider and see how it goes. But if there's a season 2, you'll know where to find it if you go to legionofdorks.com, or you pop in over at our Discord at twodorks.net/Discord. Join the conversation. You can also follow us on Twitter. I'm Steve H&H. Jacob doesn't use Twitter because he's got some sense. And TV's Travis is I keep forgetting what your Twitter handle is, Travis.
Yeah, it's TV's Travis.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
It just slips my mind every time. I don't know why.
I know. It's so hard to remember.
So hard to remember all these people. But yeah, man, if you enjoyed the show, I hope you did. Leave a review on your favorite podcasting service of choice. Also, you can support us on Patreon over there at twodorks.net/support. And man, with that, it's been a good season. Am I forgetting anything, guys?
Ideas. We want ideas for more challenges.
Yes, more challenges.
Send us your emails at dearsidequest@gmail.com. Call us at 231-486-5401. Leave me a voicemail. Let me know what you liked about season 1, but also if you have any ideas for challenges for season 2, because we love it.
Oh,
We
yeah.
want more ideas. We want more feedback. Always.
And if you have any hate mail where you go, I freaking hated this, you can send that our way too, because
Sure.
that helps us as well.
Yeah, being like, this challenge was
Yeah.
stupid, and I didn't want to do your show because this was in there. So yeah, send us all the ideas are great, because we sat around. We have maybe 4 or 5 leftovers from the previous brainstorming session, but I think we'd love to hear from you guys. So,
Absolutely.
but you've got some weeks to get that junk in, and then we'll be back for another season. But this has been a good season 1. Y'all have been amazing. The support has been amazing, and we'll see y'all next time on Side Quest. All right.
Woo.
All done.
Boom. Another MP3 in the bag, yo.
That was fun.
It was.
That was fun.
This whole show, the idea of this show, and like I looked forward to stuff every week. The funny thing was we would choose the challenge on a Wednesday night, and it would be like late Friday, early Saturday, and I'm like, I should think about what I'm going to do for this.
Yeah.
I need to. That's something I will need to do better for a season 2 is get on it right away.
Yeah. Don't
Plan a
delay.
little bit better.
I think
Use
for
Wednesday
season-
and Thursday to plan things a little bit better.
Mhm.
Yeah, and for season 2, what I really want to do better next time is